Day one of the transfer portal opening. It was not a quiet one for Michigan State. We have new portal entries. We got some portal visitors, and we also got a very annoying basketball game to talk about.
You are Locked On Spartans, your daily podcast on the Michigan State Spartans, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
This episode of Locked On Spartans is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Spartan friends, Spartan family, Locked On Spartans listeners, how on earth are we all doing to kick off your 2026? And guys, thanks a lot for making Locked On Spartans part of your weekend routine, your holiday routine, all-encompassing routines. Guys, thanks a lot for making us your first listen every single day right here on the #1 ranked Locked On Podcast Network. Please rate, review, subscribe. Comment below your thoughts on the basketball game against Nebraska, which we will get to here later on in the show. But stealing the spotlight right now, it's transfer portal day. That's right, the 15-day window, it is open officially, and we already knew the bulk of guys leaving. They've made their announcements, including a dozen guys that made their announcements on New Year's Eve. But you tally it all up, including some new additions that we did not hear from yet. MSU has hit the 40 player mark of guys going into the portal. Now, that's a few things. That number, 40 players leaving your program to the portal. It's a few things, right? It's jarring. Sure, like that's a big number. More than 36 players. Oh my goodness gracious. But it's also, and we talked about this more at length on yesterday's show, it's typical in situations like Michigan State. And when I say like Michigan State, I mean a few things, right? Coaching change right there on the surface. That will kick up your transfer portal entries right there. Thing number two, there is a new coach because, well, along the way, the roster has been in such dire straits that it is very apparent that this is not a roster even close to competing in the Big Ten. Now, is that to say that all 40 guys that have entered have been asked to leave? No, there are some guys that you certainly would like here rather than in the portal, guys like Nick Marsh, Aiden West, in my opinion, Michael Masunis. But the bulk of this, I don't know. I just saw the 4-8 season that you just did. Are we really going to wipe away our tears at most of these guys? What a mean way of putting that. But no, not at all. So, look, it's jarring. It's typical for situations like Michigan State. Florida also has a high number. You go to Iowa State. I think they only have 17 scholarship players even left over there in Ames, Iowa. So you can look around the country. There are situations typical to what you're seeing here. Let's get into the latest entries in the transfer portal as guys defecting from Michigan State. And we're going to start with a big one here, both literally and figuratively. This is defensive lineman Alex VanSumeren. And raise your hand if you got kind of duped the day before, and I don't know if he meant to do this. I highly doubt it, but he came out with a highlight tape. Minute long, his great plays at Michigan State, and never in the video did it say that he's returning, but I think a lot of us thought, hey, cool, posting the hype video of the green and white. This is about the time of year. Everyone's making their announcements that they are coming back. Sick. We got Ben Roberts coming back and Alex VanSumeren. Okay, those are building blocks you can work off of. Except one small problem. He's going into the transfer portal, Alex VanSumeren is. So this is a kid that just got better as the year went on. Has he hit his ceiling that he came into Michigan State with of that top 250 player, the top kid in the state of Michigan, this 4-star defensive tackle? Maybe he hasn't hit that ceiling yet, but then again, he's had what I think is 2 massive leg injuries to start his career. He was behind the 8 ball right from Jump Street. But he's resurrected it in a solid enough way where, yes, I thought he was a plus contributor. And when I say better as the year went on, that's not to say he was bad ever to start the season. He was very instrumental in that Boston College game, hurrying up Dylan Lonergan on that 2-point conversion attempt, and it just didn't work out for the Eagles. So, simpler times those were. But, yes, the defensive line has been pillaged outside of Ben Roberts. You do have Derek Simmons, by all accounts, the former 4-star from Frankenmuth, coming back too. But yeah, Michigan State will be shopping in the transfer portal for defensive line. They're shopping for every position. Who are we kidding? There's like 40 new players that we need. We even need a long snapper. We need a punter. We need a kick. We need every position. So anyway, guys, defensive backs, they saw even more exits. Armarion Smith, who, man, did he play a lot last year. And hey, that with his departure, if you include guys that have transferred, if you include guys that have ran out of eligibility, that just means Nikai Martinez and Avion Gross are the only two safeties to return from last year's team that really played any snaps. So there you have it. Chance Rucker, cornerback. He also played in 7 games. Now, he played 77 snaps last year for your Michigan State Spartans. Chance Rucker, 7 games, 77 snaps. And I'm saying that twice because, absurdly enough, he was going to be the leader in most snaps played last year, returning to the cornerback room. That's how many guys have, ran out of eligibility for the most part, but also defected from the program. Namely, Aiden West was the big one that we all thought was going to return. Instead, rope-a-dope. No, he's also into the transfer portal. So we are hitting the firm reset button on the corner room. And there's a few guys that are going to be visiting here. We're going to get to the visits here in the second segment. But let's keep going through the guys leaving. Edge player. This one, I don't, I understand why he's leaving. It's Ice Moa. Now, he was an edge guy, a stand-up edge guy, outside linebacker from BYU. And I'm not going to tell you this kid was a game wrecker. He wasn't the reincarnation of Shalik Calhoun by any stretch of the imagination, but I didn't think he was so bad where he should have saw his role diminish the way it did to end the season. So I understand why he's leaving. Saw his role dwindle away into almost nothingness by the end of the year, but as a pass rusher on third down situations, I thought he was serviceable. And serviceable is just about the nicest thing you could say about anyone in the pass rush department on this defense. No disrespect, only giving you honesty here. Now, we do have even more offensive linemen against all odds that have announced that they are entering the transfer portal. And this was just a little bit after yesterday's show. Ashton Lepo, right tackle. He's played, here and there the last few seasons at Michigan State. You've seen his work. And then Stanton Ramil. I mean, this is a kid whose season got off to a slow start, unfortunately, last year. And then he just never really got back on track after that big leg injury that he sustained. What was it, after the 3rd, 4th week? So former 4-star, former top 400 kid, Stanton Ramil. He's going to be in the transfer portal, which means you add in Lepo, you add in Ramil. That's 10 total offensive linemen leaving for the portal. Okay, Caleb Carter, also out of eligibility. Matt Goldman, also out of eligibility. That is a dozen offensive linemen that you are missing here. So that's 2 things, right? You're missing 12 guys in the offensive line room. Now, keep in mind, only 4 of those guys really played any meaningful snaps last year. Ashton Lepo, Stanton Ramil, Christian Phillips, Gavin Brocious, right? All these other guys, no real meaningful snaps, if any snaps at all, but still 12 is a staggering number. And this means that, you only have 3 guys returning with 100-plus snaps from last year. That is Rakeem Johnson. That is Connor Moore. That is Rustin Yun. So that's it right now. Connor Moore did announce that he is returning to Michigan State next year, so that's solid. I mean, outside of Matt Goldman, that's the offensive lineman that most of us were most pleased with last year. But, yes, the second thing is, the first one is, you got to replace a lot. You're returning 3 guys with legit experience from last year. The second thing is, are we going to miss 12? Are we going to miss that offensive line room from last year? I know that this is a tall task to replace an entire offensive line, especially in a portal where it's easier said than done just to go out there and get offensive linemen. But, man, I just, quite bluntly, that's okay. That's a chapter that I'm willing to move on from. Anyway, guys, let's keep talking about the portal. Okay, let's talk about visitors. Let's talk about what Michigan State has targeted here coming up, and then, we'll talk about that basketball game. But first, you need to talk everyone's ears off about Game Time, the greatest ticketing app out there. And, guys, there's a 3-pack of home games coming up for your Michigan State basketball Spartans. If you want to be there, see if they can get back on track after that tough game in Lincoln. Guys, there's no better place to get in on all that action than with Game Time. You can save days or weeks or months in advance with their flash deals always taking place, or guys, they're last-minute ticket deals. Let's say Monday, you wake up, you want to see the Spartans take on USC. You go through your whole workday and you realize, hey, 8 p.m. I've got some time to drive to East Lansing. Let's go ahead and get some tickets. Guys, scoop them up with their last-minute ticket deals. There is nothing like college basketball season. There is nothing like Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, that's Locked On College, all one word, Locked On College for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. All right, guys, so before moving forward here, just got to shout out a lot of people here because, I mean, they're just doing incredible work over at 24/7 Sports, CBS Sports, Spartans Illustrated, guys like Chris Hummer, Cody Nagel, Justin Sin, the whole Spartans Illustrated gang. I mean, they have been, this is a tough job, right? Like finding out in a portal that now has over 3,000 entries. And that's not a made up number. That's not me trying to be funny. No, there are over 3,000 players in the portal right now, trying to track down who's visiting where, what's going on here and there. Like, that's crazy work. So look, this is the best job that we've done aggregating all this. And this is all shout out again, 24/7 Sports, CBS Sports, Spartans Illustrated, On3, what have you. You guys know who I'm talking about. Let's talk about visits. And we're going to break this up sides of the ball here. We will start with the offensive side of the ball because we need a receiver, right? No one from that room outside of Rodney Bullard and Charles Taplin, I think, are returning from the receiver room from last year. Braylon Collier as well. He's coming back. But yeah, you need bodies to play outside the hashes here. How about Corey Scott, wide receiver from West Florida? Yes, going down to the lower ranks here, but hey, he produced 1,000-plus yard season on 63 catches. He's going to be visiting very soon. He will have boots on East Lansing soil reportedly on January 3rd. Now, right after this visit, we're not his only suitor. We'll have to battle with Virginia Tech and the Fighting James Franklins. And then also a James Madison visit right after that, but hey, speedy receiver out of West Florida, Corey Scott. Guys, there is no shortage of running backs coming here to East Lansing. Right now, your returners, Brandon Tolis, Jace Clarizio. Okay? You need some help in the running back room, just like you need help in every position group. Why do I keep saying that as if that's some epiphany? Every position in this Tom Izzo football building needs bodies. Anyway, running back, we got 3 reportedly visiting guys. Traquan Jones out of Old Dominion, 5'9" running back, 185 pounds. Now, he split carries with another starting running back. Their quarterback also went off for a lot of runs here. A lot of dual threat action going on at Old Dominion. But anyway, about Traquan Jones, split carries and averaged about 7.5 yards per carry, so not too shabby. He's jittery. He's got some good cuts, especially at that second level. I don't think he's necessarily just a one-cut running back, but this would be adding a little dose of speed to the room should you get him. You want more brute force. You want a bowling ball running the ball. You want someone that's built like a cube plowing through the A-gap. Well, how about Cam Jones out of Florida State, 5'10", 217 pounds now. He's coming here with fresh legs, just 8 carries last year, so we'll see if, anything transpires out of that. And then, last but not least, amongst the 3 running backs that are reportedly visiting East Lansing soon, Marvis Parrish out of Western Kentucky University. Now, the fun part about him, actually, he's got a few fun parts about him. He's got 3 years left of eligibility. Okay, this guy hit the ground running for the Hilltoppers. He was Conference USA All-Freshman team, carrying the rock at 5.4 yards per carry. This is another guy on the speedier, shiftier side. So Marvis Parrish, I think amongst the 3 of them, if I had my pick, that's the one I'm going with. 3 years of eligibility. It's got some nice speed to him. You already got your bruiser back with Brandon Tolis. I mean, not to say that you can't upgrade from that, but yeah, let's add some lightning to the thunder here. Now, the offensive line, and it goes without saying, yes, they need bodies here. But as we have realized as Michigan State fans, if you haven't understood how important offensive line play is in football up until, the last few years, well, we've gotten a good crash course the last 3-4 years about how important offensive line play is. So there are 2 guys that actually have a considerable amount of buzz around them. The first one, Lucas Simmons out of Florida State. Now, this guy is a mammoth person from Stockholm, Sweden, actually. He prepped in Clearwater in Florida, but regardless, he went to Florida State as a former top 100 recruit, 6'8", 300-pound tackle. Now, he played as a redshirt freshman last year, just in 4 games, got the bulk of his offensive snaps against Kent State, Texas A&M Commerce, so he didn't play offensively a whole lot unless they were drubbing teams to oblivion. He played a lot on special teams, but yeah, there's still a lot of tread on the Lucas Simmons tires. I know that this is a whole, like, I don't know what to call it, a paradox, I suppose, of, hey, young guy, been in college for 2 years. He's a top 200 or top 100 recruit, former 4-star, former 5-star, hasn't blossomed yet. Is that a guy you get excited about? Or is that a guy where you see that it's like, oh, well, he couldn't play even in his second year, really. Is this just a good old-fashioned flop? But let that be our problem, I guess. Again, we lost 12 offensive linemen last year. I'm down to experiment with whatever the following season. Now, the next name, now this kind of broke later in the day here, Trent Fraley. Now, that last name, Fraley, sounds familiar if you're a Detroit Lions fan. Well, hey, your offensive line coach for the Lions, Hank Fraley. This is his kid, and his kid played at North Dakota State, the FCS powerhouse. He was not just a center there, but a FCS All-American center. So you've seen Michigan State go that route in the FCS ranks, right? Hey, Luke Newman from Holy Cross, Connor Moore from Montana State last year. So far, so good. Luke Newman, I think that was a success. Connor Moore, can he hit another gear or two? Absolutely, but I so far think that has been a success so far. So Trent Fraley, come on down. Now, one problem with that, there's going to be other teams vying for his services, like Florida State has already reportedly locked down a visit, but Trent Fraley, rumored to be visiting Michigan State. I don't want to go as far as report because I couldn't get it super sourced, but yes, Trent Fraley, just keep your eye on him. Now, for the defensive side of the ball here, who do we just hire for cornerbacks coach from Iowa State? That's right, Coach Poteet. Hey, here's a corner, Trey Bell from Iowa State last year. Now, he played 8 games at Iowa State last season. He started the last 8 games, and like you know, yeah, he was coached by Hank Poteet. Okay, now keep in mind, again, there's no returning corner here with more than 100 snaps at Michigan State, so we'll take anyone that we can get. Tyran Chappell out of Houston Christian. He was a starter and an FCS freshman All-American at Houston Christian. We're also going to go down to Louisiana because Michael Richard out of Louisiana Tech, he was a safety. He will be visiting here. Now, I do want to hit pause here and circle back to a conversation we had not too long ago about the portal and visitors that we would love to see, and I singled out Jontez Williams. I didn't really single out a whole lot of names because, again, there's more than 3,000 entries. It would be ridiculous just to kind of spray darts all over the place and make a wish list that isn't attainable. But you feel like Jontez Williams could have been attainable to at least get a visit. This is a kid, second team All Big 12 2 seasons ago. Really talented player out of Iowa State. Just played 4 games last year, blew his ACL. But that hasn't stopped him from being one of the most prized and coveted corners in the country, in the portal rankings. Jontez Williams, despite Hank Poteet coming here, his cornerback coach coming here, he's visiting Florida, USC, and Notre Dame. Now, there's a lot of time left. Can he schedule a Michigan State visit? Of course. And look, is this me saying that, oh, Michigan State hired Hank Poteet just to get a guy like Jontez Williams? No. Am I saying that, oh, Jontez Williams should be married to his position coach from college? No. But golly gee, I would hope that you just have his phone number at least and have, well, at least the knowledge to give him the resources that, or at least the knowledge to let him know that we have the resources at Michigan State that could make him happy, whether it's playing time. Hell, kid, you could play both sides of the field at the same time if you want. We have no one in this room. And also, I get that we have to essentially pay 40 guys out of the portal, it seems like, but you could cut a big check for this guy. You could prioritize this guy. So again, there's a lot of time left. Could a visit be scheduled? Of course. But yeah, so far that one's a disappointing one because, well, the connection's already there. You need to make a few splashes here if you want next season to even get off the ground in year 1 under Pat Fitzgerald. But let's move on here. Linebacker. Interesting one coming in. Caleb Wheatland. Now, he was at Auburn last year. He played 3 games at Auburn. He was at Maryland before. When he was at Maryland, this guy was a wrecker. More than 100 tackles in the season prior, a bunch of tackles for losses, pass breakups. But when he goes to Auburn last year, I reached out to my guy, Zach Blackerby, Locked on Auburn, fantastic guy. So what's the deal with him? Straight up said he just got passed up by younger guys very early in the season. So, okay, did you rack up all the stats at Maryland? Because bluntly, it's Maryland, and someone has to tackle someone on the field. I mean, so maybe they just fell into his lap. Because, man, getting jumped that by that many young players at Auburn. An Auburn team that didn't quite have a season to write home about. Interesting. Guys, we're going to round out the visitors here with a pair of edges because, you need to get to the quarterback somehow, some way. Now, this is two guys, some acronyms for names. DJ Jaxon from UNLV, 6'4", 265 pounds. Now, he played 335 snaps last year, and in the 169 passing snaps, he just had 1 sack. So I would like to say that this is a depth addition, but no, he would probably be there's no one in the defensive end right now. MJ Stroud, he's from Georgia Southern. Now this guy, a little more decorated season last year. All Conference USA, 33 tackles, 15.5 tackles for loss, 6.5 sacks, 5 passes defended, and 3 forced fumbles. West Virginia also reportedly getting a visit from him, and Colorado also getting a visit from him. Not a ton of star power right there, I got to say, but I'm not going to hit the red panic button just yet. This window just opened. They don't even have to commit anywhere by the end of this 15-day window. As a reminder, they just need to formally enter it in that time. So there you have it, guys. Now we're going to get back to Happy Land and talk about the basketball game that just wrapped up in Lincoln. But first, need to talk everyone's ears off about FanDuel Sportsbook. And look, they want me to talk about the NBA Happy Hour, and we will do that. But first, guys, Dart Championships tomorrow, the PDC World Finals here. I got to play for you. I think Luke Littler is going to win this one, but he's minus 260, right? Gian Van Veen, though, I think is good enough to make plus 205 a good value play. I think he should be closer to plus 150. Anyway, I have a future on him already. Gian Van Veen for the PDC World Championships. Anyway, let's talk about a sport people actually watch. NBA. FanDuel has the NBA Happy Hour going on, guys. It is your official pregame, a limited time window where special offers drop right inside the FanDuel app before the action starts. Guys, it's Fridays from 6 to 7:30 Eastern. It is appointment viewing with the NBA Happy Hour. Just open up the FanDuel app during Happy Hour and you'll enjoy something new every single time, like boosts, bonuses, surprises. The timing is perfect. It's right before the games, right before the weekend starts. Get it started with FanDuel's NBA Happy Hour. Every Friday from 6 to 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. It's a little bit of basketball, a little bit of action, and a whole lot of Friday energy. That's NBA Happy Hour, only on FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. All right, second loss of the season for Michigan State. They fall in Lincoln in what was billed as like the biggest home game in their programs, like at least last 26 years, this whole century. Good for Nebraska fans. I mean, good for Fred Hoiberg. I have nothing salty or smarmy to say about Nebraska. That's an awesome win for them. And I'm not going to totally crash out after the second loss of the season. But that doesn't take away from how just outright annoyed I am at that game because, maybe I do have a salty comment. I don't mean for it to come off as salty, but straight up, MSU plays their C- game. We're doing a victory post-game show right now. Just a C- game, I feel like. Because also, on the contrary, it's not like Nebraska played their A game either. That felt like a game where you can go into someone's home barn, okay, see that they're not playing to their full potential, snatch the game right in front of them, right in front of their 15,000 home crowd fans, but you didn't. And, I mean, just on top of Nebraska, just also not really looking all too cohesive on offense. And that's obviously a credit to Michigan State's defense. They got one of the best defenses in the nation. But on top of that, Price Sandfort, the guy that was just killing you for a little bit, he plays a season-low 21 minutes. This game was ripe for the taking. I mean, number 9 on their team, whose name I'm not even going to try to pronounce, he was a 0 tonight, his worst game of the year. And here we are. We're talking about a 2-point loss, one that just dwindled away. I got this segment broken up in the bad and the good. And if you think I'm just going to start with taking the lazy road and talking about, why did Tom Izzo not call a timeout at the end? Well, you'd be absolutely positively correct because this is like the ridiculous thing we get to do as fans, right? Izzo's the greatest human to ever grace Michigan State University. I love him more than I love some family members. This man's a Hall of Fame coach. I have to do this disclaimer every time I say something like this. My man, like, were you just waiting for hair to literally be on fire from your players in that final possession? That thing was panicked with 9 seconds to go. That thing was DEFCON 2 panicked with about 5 seconds to go. And I know we're cutting it close here, but 5 seconds is more than enough time to call a timeout, drop a set that isn't going to end in Carson Cooper panic running to the lane to get a floater off. So, look, there's 39 minutes and 50 seconds before that we have to talk about. But, yeah, you had 2 timeouts. That never looked like a smooth final possession from Jump Street, but whatever. We've got bigger fish to fry here, like the turnovers. We got it. We got to just point at that glaring LED sign right above the game that is just flashing 19 turnovers. Now, granted, Nebraska only somehow got 6 points off those turnovers, but that's beside the point. Okay. Nebraska was able to shoot 57 shots. You were able to just shoot 50 because, well, you turned the ball over 19 times. I don't need to tell you why 19 turnovers is bad, but just, hey, isn't that a game where you kind of wish you had 2, 3, 10 more shots at the basket? And nothing just drove your head through the drywall more than in the middle of that second half, 4 straight turnovers. Because did Nebraska's defense even do anything for 3 of those turnovers like the patented? And we're going back a few years. This was Michigan State's best offensive move in 2022 was to grab the ball, step out of bounds. Then right after that, travel. Where I love Carson Cooper, his growth from freshman year to senior year cannot be spoken about highly enough. But I've also, if I could just nitpick, again, love the kid. He's my son's favorite player. You'll never hear me say anything bad about Carson Cooper after this. I'm all set with him committing either the most egregious foul you've seen or him taking 4 steps of the basketball and being called for a travel and then looking paralyzed at the bench wondering, well, since when can I walk 4 steps with the basketball and acting just stunned? I could do without that facial expression on very obvious turnovers and mishaps the rest of the season. Anyway, love the kid. He's great. He's awesome. Anyway, look, the 4 straight turnovers thing wasn't fun. Nebraska, they nailed us 3 to go up 44-38. Jaxon Kohler, who had a great game. It was just an awesome game that you wasted from him. But even, hey, offensive rebound, put the ball on the deck when he didn't have to. He could have just gone straight up. That's a jarred ball loose, and Nebraska gets it. Everyone had their share of the turnover pie, okay? It certainly wasn't just one person. Anyway, just going to more of the bad. Not to keep badgering the kid because he's been really good this season, but yeah, Cooper, that's a tough second half. I'm hardly even talking about the free throws at the very end there. But 2 of 6 from the field, 3 turnovers alone in the second half, just 1 shot made, so that was tough for him. But look, just to zoom it out to something even bigger than just one player, crunch time was awful. This is where you miss a guy like Jace Richardson, right? Or even, dare I say, times like this, especially with Divine Ukachukwu out with illness, guys like a Trey Holloman, right? Like a guy that could handle the ball. He could offer you shooting. He could actually dribble the ball and offer you just a different chance in the half-court offense, because in the final 3.5 minutes of this game, there was just 1 field goal made. MSU had this game, I don't want to say all the way in hand, but they were certainly more comfortable of the 2 teams until it got time to, okay, who can score a half-court basket? That's truly what it was for the last, it seemed like 4 or 5 minutes of the game was, okay, no transition at all is going to happen. No one's going to be getting quick possessions. We are going to grind it both sides of the court all the way down to 3 seconds left on the shot clock. So that begs the question, and I've been one of his strongest defenders, and he is one of my favorite players, not just on this team, but in Michigan State history. Doing a lot of disclaiming this segment, but I love Cohen Carr. He could go the rest of the season without scoring a basket, and he'd still be one of my all-time favorite players, but we got to have honest dialogue here. In games like this, down the stretch where there is no transition or quick baskets or back cuts to be had, why is he out there? What does he offer in the half-court offense? Other than just standing in the corner, having the ball passed to him and passing it immediately back to reset the half-court offense. It kind of seemed like 4-on-5 out there. I know Fears, Kohler had their little 2-man game going on. That's great. That's fine. Tang, he hit 2 shots out of the 15 that he had. Anyway, I'm not sure admittedly, I'm not sure what the answer is. So yes, am I complaining without coming up with a solution? Yes, I am, but maybe it's just Fears at the 1, Tang at the 2, Scott at the 3 to at least give you some offense. He can at least somewhat dribble the ball. And then Kohler at the 4, Cooper at the 5. It's probably where I'm going down crunch time. And I know I'm saying this after a not so great Jordan Scott game. But did Cohen Carr have a great game? I don't know. It's just when it is abundantly clear that this game is just going to be a half-court offense off. Well, I'll be darned. What are we going to do here? Anyway, guys, I want to zoom out even further than just the end of that game. The 2 position today was a disaster. Combined 5 of 20 shooting from the field. Now, Kurtang, he got the most minutes, 28 minutes. And, hey, 3-pointer start the game. That was fun. He hit that big 3 in the second half. That was cool. Anyway, outside of those 2 combined minutes, not great. 4 of 15 shooting on the whole night. He also bricked those 2 key shots at the very end. Had those 2 step out of bounds turnovers. How many turnovers did he have? I see he might have led the way with turnovers. Yeah, 4 turnovers for our guy Kurtang here. And it's not like it got much better after him. Jordan Scott, 14 minutes. 7 of those minutes were played in the second half where he had 3 fouls and just 1 rebound. Now, he's been really solid as a freshman. Don't want to badger him too much, but that wasn't his finest work. And then Trey Fort, just 9 minutes. 1 field goal made. And I'd have to go back and look, but I don't think he played after he went under on that screen where a 3-pointer was dotted right in Michigan State's eye on that handoff. So, yeah, the whole week I'm looking forward to, hey, who's going to start at the 2? This is going to be awesome. I think we're done with the Divine at the 2 project because, well, we need him to back up Jeremy Fears. We can't have Denim Wojcik. This is going to be great. And then it comes out that, well, he's sick. But if not for nothing else, well, that means extended run for our 2 position. Surely someone will look good today, and that was a disaster outside of like 2 shots that largely amounted to nothing. Yeah, I guess I could talk about Denim Wojcik. There's not too much to talk about that I haven't already said in the previous 4 post-game shows. College Basketball Report is a Twitter account. They had the best tweet. It's unfortunately true. Denim Wojcik is Tom and Jerry hoops. He is just like unfortunately, a physical comedic genius out there. And when he just bounces off of Jesse McCulloch while trying to grab a rebound and he is sprawled out in the key and you're waiting for someone to just make a chalk outline of him as the ball is rolling out of bounds, all you can do is just laugh. Until we come out of the commercial break and Rink Mass hits one of his 3-pointers because they couldn't just grab a simple rebound because your backup point guard is bouncing off of his teammates, kind of like how my 2-year-old bounces off me when he's running and not looking up. It's not good. It's not good. Is it Wojcik's fault, though? This is what I always come back to. You have 3 ball handlers on the team. One of them was wearing a mask on the sidelines because he was so sick today. Now, look, am I at the point where I'm starting to think, surely Kurtang can't be worse at dribbling a ball up the court than Denim Wojcik can, right? Like, surely Trey Fort can at least give you some dribbling abilities. But, yeah, clearly they have their knees in the sand saying that it's Denim is part of our point guard rotation here, and nothing's going to pull us away from that. When Divine gets back, I would like to see him zeroed out in big games like this, but yeah, with Divine, it is what it is. It just had to happen. Anyway, that's the good. Or, no, that's the bad. I guess we can go to the good here. I don't know. Fears just played okay at best. 2 of 8 from the floor. Got to the line 10 times, made all 10 of his. And, like, that is part of basketball now. These days, I would just really like to see him be like a scoring threat, especially in these late game moments where, okay, the shot clock's going to get bled down to 4 seconds. He had a nice one. Off the window here. But, man, that half-court offense down at crunch time does not inspire a lot for me. I also didn't like the play where he dribbled the ball off his foot out of bounds with less than a minute to go. How about that for some analysis? Fierce is just like, fine, hard stop there. Everyone else, just hard stop it, fine. Like Cam Ward, I thought had some good moments. He also had a ridiculous foul 90 feet away from the hoop. And it sucks because, well, here's what I got under the good. It's Jaxon Kohler, 19 points, 14 of them in the first half. He kept your head above water in that first half single-handedly. I love Jaxon Kohler. I really wish they could have won that game for him. That would have been a fun flight home. Jaxon Kohler only delivers in the most hostile environments. Like, I go back to that Champaign game last year against Illinois where he just snatched the soul out of the Fighting Illini. Now he's got 19 points, 11 rebounds in front of that incredibly, what I can only assume was the best crowd that Nebraska's ever had for a basketball game. I mean, man, you get Jaxon Kohler like hooping inside of a holding cell in Guantanamo Bay or something, he'll put up 35 points and 25 rebounds. This guy just only does well in the most miserable, hostile situations. So I love that kid. I still love this team. I still have high hopes for this team. God, what an annoying game. I would grade that game as a D. And you play a C- game, you walk out with a victory. Whatever. Guys, we'll be back by the end of the weekend. Sunday, we'll record a show. We'll preview this USC game going on Monday. Laura knows there will be plenty of stuff to talk about with the portal. Guys, until next time, though, take care of yourselves. Thanks a lot for throwing us part of your weekend routine here. Love you all. Go Green.